Welcome to the Gotham Outsiders, our Batman book club, back and gayer than ever for Pride Month. Just an unruly friend of Dorothy on a night walk, I'm your host, Bat-Obsessive Chris. And being gay and doing crimes, my co-host TJ.
Hello, everyone. I am your Chris proclaimed Batman acolyte, and I am doing very many crimes over here.
And being very gay?
Always very gay.
Yes, but gayer than ever this month, as we must.
Of course.
But we are not alone. Joining our Pride Parade today, we have not one, but two returning favorite guests. Writer of The Galaxy, The Prettiest Star, and the creator of Voice of Free Planet X, Jadzia Axelrod.
Hello! So glad to be here.
Hello, are you also gayer than ever today?
I am. I am also doing more crimes than I ever possibly could have imagined. So
Good. I'm glad. It's very important to us. We accept all crimes here on this podcast.
That's what I like about it. It's the acceptance.
Really, this is a safe space for crime. But we are not just joined by one guest. As I mentioned, we have a second guest, columnist of DCComics.com and podcaster of Insert Credit here, Alex Jaffe!
Hey, your asexual representation checking in, lodged into Aqualad's armpit.
Wow.
We'll talk about that.
Too real.
As I fall out of the chair laughing. Good.
Technically in there.
Technically counts.
We'll talk about it.
It could have been worse, I guess.
As with all ace representation, technically there is the best we get.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're technically here and technically queer.
Oh,
Gosh.
it's funny because it was true. Oh.
Well, thank you both for coming back to chat with us. You are, of course, two of our favorite people, and you are the perfect people to have here talking about DC Pride #1.
Yeah. I've been a huge fan of these anthology titles for a long time. I believe former editor Alex Antone was the one who started getting this latest wave of quarterly themed anthologies started a few years ago. And now we're starting to see that branch out into a vehicle for greater representation across sexualities and races, as opposed to like post-apocalyptic or romance themes. And it's really interesting to see that sort of endeavor expand in these new ways.
Absolutely. Our favorite genre is gay, after all.
It's true. I'm miffed I wasn't in this. I didn't find out about it until it was after. I thank you. I did tell people, I was like, if you do a #2, I want to be a part.
Who's your character?
Galaxy.
Oh.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
It would have been, I mean, the book doesn't come out till next summer, so
yeah,
obviously it wouldn't.
That sounds
it would
like
be weird to put it out now.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's probably very good reason they did not include me, and not because they don't know who I am.
Yeah, they're saving you for the sequel.
Yes.
Right.
That would be perfect timing for the next one.
It would.
So.
I would love for that.
We're gonna manifest it.
But I hope a bunch of people bought this, so they'll do it too, and then I can be a part of it.
Yes, listeners,
I heard it did well.
Buy 2 of them. Go out there.
Collect all the variant covers.
Collect all the covers.
Yes.
Which
cover did you guys pick out?
Oh, I got the romantic one with Harley and Ivy.
I love that one.
Where they're almost gonna kiss each other's foreheads.
Yeah, I got the regular Jim Lee one because my girl Renee Montoya's on there.
Nice.
Yes.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's the one I got as well.
I said, why not both?
Right.
Yay! Didn't you get 3 of them?
I think there's only 2, but there's like other variants on other titles.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Marvel has like 24 variant covers. It's insane.
Well, today we have an even gayer than usual game if everyone is down to play.
I don't know.
I'm always down.
I'm warning you, I get very competitive.
We have noticed this.
Then you've already lost.
we are introducing for the very first time a brand new game to Gotham Outsiders, Fact or Fan Fiction.
Ooh.
That's right. I am going to read to you the description either of something that did happen in the comics or a fan fiction. I have rewritten all of the comics ones to sound like fan fiction descriptions, including AO3 tags.
Oh, this is amazing.
All you have to do is guess whether it is fact or fan fiction.
Are they all gay?
They are all gay, of course.
Yes.
Is there straight AO3? Possibly. I will never know. Here is our first description. After running through Gotham, Joker and Batman get into a fist fight where Joker tells Bats they are Gotham's power couple. Enemies to lovers, slow burn, angst with a happy ending. Fact or fan fiction?
I'm going to say fact.
Any others?
Yeah, that sounds fact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Dark Knight, you complete me sort of thing, and very Scott Snyder like death of the family situation kind of going on here.
You're all correct. It is fact. That is Batman White Knight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've been meaning to read that.
A great comic if your favorite Batman character is the Batmobile.
How did you know?
Is the Batmobile gay? Discuss.
Yes.
There's a show coming to HBO Max, which is like basically Cars, but about the Batmobile.
What?
Yeah, that's happening.
I didn't know about this, but I'm just 1,000 times happier.
It's called Bat Wheels, and it's
oh my God.
It's coming to HBO Max.
Think of all the fanfic.
Our next description. After spending time in an exotic location, learning that his ideas of love may be hurt by his past, Jason drops everything to break the love of his life out of prison. Roy Harper / Jason fic, friends to lovers, idiots in love, angst with a happy ending.
True.
This is the plot of the first issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws.
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was about to say.
It is. How can that be straight? There's no heterosexual explanation for that story.
No, there's not.
I haven't read it, but I know Chris ships it, so I figured it was real.
I don't know. I always felt like Jason deserved a boyfriend outside of the superhero life. He needs a break from all that.
That's true. He could have.
Jason deserves nothing.
Whoa, Jadzia,
The boy was blown up in a warehouse. Give him some slack.
He was voted off the island by fans.
Should he get a boyfriend who's not a superhero? Absolutely. Does he deserve it?
Oh.
I'm hurt.
That's part of his appeal.
Okay.
But he's
That's
a hot
fair.
guy who reads books and has beautiful thighs. He deserves the world.
That's a good point.
Part of Jason's appeal is his, the forever underdog, right?
Yeah.
It was like
he's
like
a human
a
trash.
middle finger to everybody. To say he deserves anything turns him into Dick Grayson.
That's true. All right.
Human trash deserve love too.
All right. If you put it that way, I'm back. You got me back.
He's a better boyfriend than Batwoman is a girlfriend. I'm gonna throw that out there.
That's a low bar.
Right.
But he crossed it.
Yes. Not not the most selfish person in the family, I'll say that.
Yes. Maybe second to most. I don't know. Damien's pretty selfish. I think Jason's third to most.
I mean, I've heard heroes don't do that, but Jason's an anti-hero.
We know that Jason does that. Like, if we're gonna go there, Jason definitely eats pussy and thus deserves all of love.
Sure.
Can't argue with this. This is something I cannot argue with.
All right. Give us your next one.
Alex
Let's keep talking about pussy, please. No, I'm kidding.
TJ knows so much about it. Talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here's our next one. Midnighter is set to evaluate whether an amnesiac Dick Grayson is a viable candidate for recruitment into the Authority, now that Grayson is no longer under the Bat's thumb. If only he could stop getting in his own way. Dick Grayson / Midnighter, unresolved sexual tension, angst.
Fake.
Yeah, that's fan fiction. Midnighter and Dick have interacted before, but never under the auspices of the Authority.
Yeah, that's what makes me feel like it's fanfic.
It's fanfic.
Hey!
It is a fanfic called "I'll Use You as a Makeshift Gauge." So make of that what you will.
Oh my gosh.
Most of the fun of AO3 is the titles.
The titles and the tags, which I did not read all of because it would have given it away that it was fanfic.
You know, here's a fun fact that I learned about Midnighter recently. In all the years since he was first introduced, he has never met Batman. There has never been a comic to feature both of them meeting in the same room.
What?
Yeah.
So what you're telling me
then the pages
is
would explode.
Right.
Nobody has seen them in the same room, so they
At the same time.
theoretically
they could be the same guy.
All right, that's new headcanon established.
That's wild.
All right, and our final one. So far, it's everyone has points for every question, making me think this game is too easy.
We're just huge nerds.
We are. You invited colossal nerds onto this show.
And TJ is just reading me right now, apparently.
I mean, maybe I'm just educated enough now. I'm keeping up with Jaffe and Jadzia, but I'm just going to pretend that.
Okay, I'll let you pretend this for this game. All right. After a huge battle, Joker declares all he longs for is Batman to beat him up and call him a horror, proclaiming himself prettier than Catwoman anyway. Unrequited pining, angst with a happy ending.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
This is from the Lego Batman movie, right? This feels like the Lego Batman movie.
Wait, what BDSM stuff happened in the Lego Batman movie that I don't remember?
Oh my God, so much.
It's all over the place.
This is not. This is from the one where Catwoman and Batman are getting married.
Okay.
Yes. It also kind of reminded me of that Judd Winnick Outsiders story where Joker kidnaps Luthor and he's like, does it bother you that Batman will always love Catwoman more than you?
It's true. It's true.
Once again, I have to reiterate, though, that the best queer Batman villain relationship isn't the Joker, it's Two-Face.
That is a good one. We can't
disagree.
I agree. Well, if this game proves nothing, it's that you all are huge nerds who have tied, and that Batman is just really gay all the time.
Sure. Ask Frederick Wortham.
Who knew all these years later we would be agreeing with him?
Yeah.
But here we are.
He was right.
It was right for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, the part he got wrong was that it's a bad thing.
Yes, exactly. So with that, should we jump into the meat of the stories?
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Yes. The first one's the Batwoman one.
Oh, I loved this one so much.
Yes.
Oh, God, this Batwoman story is so great for a number of reasons. First of all, in 2007, we were introduced to Batwoman's twin sister, Alice, or Beth Kane, who took on the name Alice and had this whole Wonderland vibe going on. Mm-hmm. And for 14 goddamn years, she never met the Mad Hatter. Wonderland themed villains walking around Gotham, never even once like so much as talk to each other. And
I know.
This is the story where we finally get that.
I was losing it because we talked about that in our Batwoman episode, and I was like, well, finally.
Right.
It makes perfect sense that they would, but how wild is it that they did it?
Yeah.
And frankly, that's why I'm disappointed with this story. I feel like it was, here is finally this epic meeting of Lewis Carroll themed characters. And it's less than it could be for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I guess I'm putting too much weight because it was, as Alex said, something I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
And then
right.
And then here it's not even about them.
No,
it's about Batwoman.
I mean, I agree. I absolutely agree that this was not Alice's story. It's a Batwoman story because just the way it used the Alice in the Looking Glass kind of imagery for growing up with a twin who like you're trying to mirror in order to fit into society. It's just like a really clever way to do that whole thing. But yeah, I think Alice and Mad Hatter definitely deserve a showdown where they're the focus.
It doesn't feel like they met in this one, right? Like it feels like they definitely knew each other already.
Yeah.
So, prequel story. That's what we're asking for.
Yes, please.
Give us how they met.
Yes. Give us the Wonderland Gang showdown.
Come on.
It was at a tea party.
Obviously.
Naturally.
I'm sure that
I do love the art.
Yes.
Like, the art is incredible.
Art is stunning. It's like a colorful series of unfortunate events style going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chunglo Nigyan.
Yeah. They did the Magic Fish graphic novel that came out last year or this year. It was so good.
Yeah. That art, it's stunning. The way her hair moves across the panels, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, the art is beautiful.
I mean, Alex, you were saying about the using the looking glass as a metaphor about what's going on here in that story. I love that so much. The kind of the way it explores her performing gender and trying to match the standard and using that looking glass and that actual twin sister to tell that as a metaphor was so beautiful and well done.
Yeah, it really felt like kind of the first Batwoman story I've read that uses that twin connection in a meaningful way, as opposed to like kind of the soap opera trope that we see.
Not that I don't love a soap opera trope.
Sure.
But yes, you are right.
Yeah, well, I guess I liked it enough that it convinced me to pick up the next Batwoman volume after Elegy.
Yeah.
I just finished volume, I guess, 1 technically last night, and I'm working my way through.
God, those J.H. Williams panels are just like, he's just
works of
on
art.
everybody.
They could be stained glass windows, every single one of them.
Yes.
I also love there's a portion here. This is one thing that I both loved and was frustrated, not in a bad way, and I'll explain that. Frustrated by is that almost all these stories have like panel cameos of different characters that aren't actually in the anthology. This one does too, where she's just kind of talking and it's randomly some scenes of other queer characters. And I screamed out loud when it was John Constantine standing beside her, even though it was just an image. And I was like, what would that story be? I want it. I want it. Give it to me.
I mean, we got close in Tim Seeley's short run on Constantine, where he teams up with Huntress.
Yeah. That's
Chris,
fair.
did you not scream when Harper Row popped up?
Of course I screamed when Harper Row, but then I just cried because I knew it was the only time I'd see her this whole volume. Pour one out for Harper that I scream at every time I see like she is Bigfoot.
She's in that Joker backup.
She is.
Oh yeah, I'm loving that series.
Yeah. I'm a huge Joker fan right now. Because which is to say I'm a huge Jim Gordon fan, and that's kind of what the comic is about.
Yeah, it's good.
I do want to point out one thing. They bring up her getting kicked out of West Point.
Yeah.
Which means that since Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed in 2011.
Oh no.
The youngest Batwoman can possibly be is 28.
Yes. I love you have a board on your wall with like strings connecting things, don't you? Where you're like,
this is gonna be a Magneto situation, isn't it?
It is. It's an origin that's tied to a very specific time. And granted, at the time they did not know that Doma was going to be repealed. Doma's something else. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was going to be repealed 2 years later, 3 years later. Yeah. But it's still funny to me that we're hanging on to it. Like I really thought it would have been, especially with all the retcons that have happened recently, that would have been something someone would have redone.
My take on it. Just because Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed doesn't mean that there's no homophobia in the military. So it's probably something that Kate had to deal with despite it not being on the books anymore.
I think she specifically says Don't Ask, Don't Tell though, right? Like, isn't that in this? I thought so. Yeah.
I don't think it's in this. I think
it's in her. The old
Batwoman.
Yeah.
But I hate to contradict you again, Alex.
Sure.
But there's many reports actually of West Point being a very queer-friendly place.
Really?
As early as I have to find that article, but I think it was as early as 2017.
Didn't you say they had their
or maybe
own
newer.
like gay straight alliance or something?
They have more than one.
Yeah.
Turns out.
I am happily surprised to hear that.
Right?
Let me see, what was the article that 2015? So not long after Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, a writer for Vanity Fair went and visited and like was surprised at the change that's happened. The journalist was a West Point graduate himself, and he was like, "This is incredible."
All right.
This was not how it was in my day. So
apologies for assuming the military-industrial complex was homophobic.
I mean, it still probably
That's
is, but
not
definitely
one of
not
their
at West Point, apparently.
Okay.
So it's just interesting to me that we have like nailed that in Batwoman's history.
How long before she's canonically older than Batman by like a significant number?
Well, we're edging up on that.
He keeps going backwards. So
it's supposed to be early 30s, right?
Right. For now, that one time when he was only 24 and he was 10 years older than Dick Grayson. Not forgotten that one.
Yeah. That was Dan DiDio's joke back in the day that eventually Dick would be older than Batman.
So, yes. He's just Benjamin buttoning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. All right, and then the next story might be Chris's favorite.
It is. This one's my favorite. And I have you know, I didn't look at the authors before I read them because I didn't want to prejudge them. Stephen Orlando is one of my favorite writers. And I picked his story as my favorite. And then I got to the end and was like, of course it is.
Right.
I also love the art so much. This is the same artist that does Wonder Twins, which is the one I'm always screaming at people to read because more people need to read it.
Such a good book.
Such a good book, and not enough read it. Like not enough people read it. And it's so good. And
Stephen Byrne is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. 1000%. I love this one so much. It's a really simple kind of slice of life story. Meeting at a gay bar, Constantine and Gregorio, and they tell a story about Midnighter. I love that the whole framing device is, you think you're bad. I dated Midnighter once.
The whole thing is just kind of John being a slut as usual. It's great.
I love it. I'm here for it. I loved the fighting the straight washing neo-Nazi vampire.
Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
The whole thing with the Patroclus and Achilles story.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm reading
cute.
Song of Achilles right now, so that one hit extra hard.
So good.
I played through Hades, so that hit extra hard for me.
Right. Oh, they were roommates, not lovers.
Right.
I've yet to read a book that has Midnighter and Apollo, and I really thought this was going to be it. So when it wasn't Midnighter, like dating Apollo, I was like, what?
You got to see them in a single panel later.
I know. One of these days, I'm going to read Midnighter and Apollo.
You should. You deserve it in your life, TJ. This is
Can
also.
we talk just a moment though about the the place at the tabling of Extraño? Because I do not like it. I do not like what they've done to him.
Okay. I don't know this character, so you're gonna have to help me out.
Oh, he was the worst in the best way.
Extraño. Yeah, why don't you tell me? I wrote an article about Extraño a couple years ago, but why don't you?
No. If you're the expert, by all means.
All right, yeah. So so I've been on DC's Pride beat for the past 3 years, and my first year on it, my editor asked me to do an article about Extraño, who was the first openly gay superhero in DC history. He was introduced in a story called Millennium, which was basically about the Guardians of the Universe bouncing from this universe and appointing some people to take care of the Earth in their stead. One of them was this very flamboyant Latino guy who kept insisting everybody call him Auntie, and he was basically he was basically a DC Doctor Strange. Extraño means strange.
Subtle.
Yeah, and it was just kind of it was a very broad first attempt to include gay representation in the DC universe. And it was shelved. This is the same series that featured a villain named the Hemo Goblin who gave people HIV. So subtlety was not on the table.
Yikes.
There was Snowflame, who got his power from snorting cocaine. It was like,
it was the worst.
Yeah,
it was the worst.
It was current issues. I mean, it was very clumsy, but its heart was in the place that like we want to start reflecting more of the modern issues of the world. It wasn't executed with any sort of grace, but when Steve Orlando was called back to do the Midnighter series, he said, well, if I'm going to do a series starring a gay superhero, let's create a role for the first gay superhero. So he kind of redrafted Extraño as this sort of elder statesman of the gay superhero community, who's done a lot of growing in the years we've seen off screen, and started a family with a Tasmanian Devil, who was a gay member of the Global Guardians, which debuted a couple years after Millennium. And they have a daughter together now. And they did make him into a completely different sort of character, but
an absolutely different sort of character.
But I don't know. He's been out of the spotlight for like 35 years. People change in that time.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like young screaming queens turn into old screaming queens. They don't turn into old place at the table guys. And it really bothers me that Extraño was not a great representation.
No.
But part of the reason he was not a great representation is because he was the only representation. Like his problem is not that he was a campy queen. The problem is that was the only one we had.
Right.
And I think a lot of people look at that now and be like, oh, well, that's problematic to have a campy gay person. And it's like, but the result is then that nobody is a campy gay person.
Right. No, we don't get a camp guy.
Right. And
that's
like,
a good point.
and I have this, it's a similar issue I have with the Green Lantern and Obsidian story, is you have 3 characters in that book, all gay, all dressed exactly the same, all with the same haircuts, the same
100%.
square jaws. And it's
that is a very good
that's
point.
not gay people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like turning Extraño into this, like, I mean, he's a great daddy type. I think that's wonderful. But also I feel like we really lost something.
What's the
by
male
having
equivalent of a lipstick lesbian?
Yeah, like by making him so butch and so distinguished and like, oh, I don't do that silly thing anymore.
Right.
I wear suits and maybe I might have a bright scarf, possibly, if I'm feeling really flamboyant. Like, it's just, it really irks me. And like, I think the character, I don't want to say deserves better because we've already talked how I don't think characters deserve anything. But but it just irks me in a really serious way. And it's like, that in order for him to now be in comics, to be a character that we actually read about as opposed to look up Wikipedia articles on, in order for that to happen, he has to be more like a straight man.
Yeah.
Fair argument. I mean, I know nothing about this character, so.
Well, like I said, he's the worst. Like, it's a.
Well, we
But he
need
was
some
our
characters.
worst.
Yes, we need some characters who are the worst.
He was the worst, but he was the first.
Right. Both. Yeah. And it just, he's so different now. And it's like a different character. And that, and that it just, and I don't like the implication that you even said, Alex, is that he grew out of his camp phase. That seems.
That's sad.
That's fair.
It's sad.
If
sad. So it's hard for
true,
me to really enjoy his stuff.
That's totally valid.
If that's true, it's a tragedy, not character growth, honestly. It's been knocked out of him for some reason, maybe there's a story there, but
disingenuous to the character.
Like, I think he can still be, someone who has a nice beard and still be a flamboyant gay man. Like,
I mean, of course.
Not to skip ahead, but we do get a little bit more of that classic Extraño in the last story in this anthology.
A little bit.
Yes.
But nowhere near the camp sun, the exploding star of camp that was the original.
The original Extraño, yeah.
Do you feel like they're setting him up is he going to be in something? Because he comes up 3 times in this anthology.
I could talk about that. it's something we see a little bit of in that last story. So maybe we should talk about it there.
Okay.
But I don't know if there are plans for Extraño, but there definitely were plans for Extraño.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was wondering because I was like, wow, he comes up in another one where they just reference it. Oh, in the Aqualad one, they also reference him.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, there's a lot of him in this.
Yeah, we'll come back
you're
to that.
definitely right. He doesn't have much of a personality. Midnighter is like popping off the page like usual in this one, and he's just the thing that Midnighter is bouncing off of most of the time in this story.
Yeah, and I think it would even serve the story better to have him be more his camp historical persona, and have that contrast for Midnighter's extremely butch,
which is kind of
action
ironic,
hero kind of thing. Yeah,
because this whole story is about like redrafting and whitewashing gay history.
Yes, 100%.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is also where we get the line that I referenced earlier, that we're just two unruly friends of Dorothy out for a night walk, which is my favorite line in the whole anthology.
I think that was like a thing gay men used to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was
Are you a friend of Dorothy? It was like code or something.
Yeah.
I'm gay. I know my history.
Yeah. We asexuals, we say we're a friend of Jughead.
That's nice.
I'm a friend of Jughead. I love that.
Oh my god.
And then we get a Midnight and Apollo art piece, and then we move on and don't get to see them again. But I was like, oh, it's them. Oh, it's not them. Okay, bye. But it was cute. It was a little Romeo and Juliet balcony.
And Jadzia and Alex, I hear you both are big Renee Montoya fans.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Try the Girl. The arts by Skylar Partridge is wonderful. Jadzia, did you get Denny O'Neil vibes from this story?
I did.
Yeah. Like there's a real Myra Furman thing going on with the new councilwoman, Valeria Johnson, and I am super, super into it.
Yeah, her saving herself is very Denny O'Neil. Like that.
Yes.
That thing where the question bursts in and the councilwoman's fine is like, that feels very Denny O'Neil.
Right. Like in the original Myra story where she's the one who takes down the minister who kidnaps her daughter. It just like a lot of the Renee stories we've been seeing since 52 have been her kind of continuing Vic Sage's work. And now it's really fun to see her growing into the same kind of role in her own way. I just really loved all of this. I really identify with Vic personally. So Renee is kind of my trash daughter. And just seeing her grow up like this gives me a lot of pride.
Aww.
Yeah, Vita Alea is such a good writer.
Oh, Vita's so good.
This is one of the one story. I think, this is like the one story that's like 4 pages long in here.
Yes.
It feels so much larger.
It does.
And it doesn't feel like I felt so much wanting more in so many of these stories.
Yeah.
And that one was like, this is a complete story. I am absolutely happy.
Yes.
I don't feel like something was edited out. I'm happy to read more Vita question in the future, but it's like such a complete little origami story.
Right.
That's perfectly paced and fits in its 4 pages excellently well.
Yeah. Vita always shows up for these anthology series. They've been doing that for a while, and they're always they're always just a few pages, and some of the best stuff in the whole book, like the short form comic, is really where Vita thrives. And right now Vita's on Static season 1. The first issue came out. It's extremely good. Oh man,
I love Static so much.
Is it Children of the Atom over at Marvel?
Yes, she's doing that too.
Yeah,
that's very good.
And I would say, to your point about it being so short and feeling so big, a lot of these try to establish relationships that aren't already there. There's, people going on first dates or whatever. And I don't think any of them are as successful as this one is in making me go, I understand this relationship.
Yes.
I get why they like each other. I love it. I ship it. It was 4 pages. I don't know how this happened, but here I am going, yes, these two. I feel like I got them so fully and I felt the chemistry between them so completely.
All I can say is Vita is a master of the short comic form.
Yeah. Also, the kiss through the mask, leaving the lipstick on it.
Adorable.
That art was so good.
That was so cute. I love it.
We're just like Renee's entire world has been rocked by that kiss. Incredible.
Good. Oh, yes. We love to see it.
Yeah, the art was great. Skylar Patridge, we just got to talk to her. Very nice person and so talented.
Yes. Also has strong opinions on whether Batman eats pussy. On that note.
Yes. On that note.
Speaking of Harley Quinn.
Speaking of Harley Quinn.
Another word for truck to move furniture. Now this one is the one TJ and I had a fight over. Not really fight. A very peaceful fight.
Oh, tell me.
We debated. So to start off, the art is beautiful. The colors, beautiful. We spoke to Marissa as well when we did our Pride special, our other Pride special. Very talented. Again, colors, love it. I came into this a little hesitant because with Mariko Tamaki's stuff, it's either like hit or miss for me. Like right now, I am loving her Detective Comics run, but everything else I've ever read, it's been like meh to me.
That's because you haven't read Breaking Glass, like I keep shouting at you to do.
I know, so I need to read that too. But so I came into this and I was like, why is Ivy so needy? Harley just seems like manic pixie dream girl, like. So it wasn't vibing for me. They didn't feel like in what I imagined their in character is. But then once I started talking to Chris, I was like, well, maybe I'm just like projecting the Harley Quinn TV show personalities too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
These are definitely not the Harley Quinn TV show personalities.
Right.
Ivy's neediness here, I read less as kind of indicative of her character overall. But a frustrated desperation, which was a meta commentary on how Harley and Ivy's relationship has been treated since like 2000. How 100%. It's always kind of this flirty, queer baity, hey, maybe you don't know what happens off panel.
Yeah.
And Harley is playing that kind of editorial, trying to have it both ways kind of angle here. And Ivy's like, enough is enough. It's goddamn 2021 already. Let's actually talk about what we want to talk, what we are.
Yeah, I think the thing that tips it over the edge for me is when Harley explains why she's been doing that canonically in this story. That she says the line, relationships can be weapons of oppression. And she, like, the word relationship, the idea of having some ownership over each other is so against her nature now that she's escaped Joker.
Yeah.
To have that like placed on what she has with Ivy makes it feel cheaper or, oppressive in some way. And so it was hard for her to get past that. But she also wasn't saying that. So Ivy was just feeling that, like, let's define the relationship kind of feeling. I felt that tension really strongly reading this.
Yeah, that word balloon was worth the whole story.
It was.
Which is funny because, like, it comes right after that incredibly tight question story, and it's twice as long, and it feels like a quarter as much happens.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
But that moment is beautiful, and I love the art. I love
it's so
Amy Reeder's stuff. Yeah. Amy Reeder also does something that only her and Lisa Sturl does in this whole anthology, which is dress their gays like gay people.
Yes.
Like I love that Harley and Ivy outfits, which look like their costumes while at the same time being streetwear that you would see someone wear.
That little hat that Ivy's wearing is everything.
Little hat, the shirt that Harley's wearing with the little duck at the collar. Like it's
so charming.
I've seen people on the street wear something like that. So it all makes sense.
I also just love that the final bit of it is just people of Gotham have been debating whether they're a couple or not, because that would happen. If we had superheroes and villains running around, people would be like, they're banging. That those two, those two banging.
Also, we get like 3 panels of makeouts, which is great.
Yes.
Usually we only get like 1 kiss, and it's like, yeah, 3.
Usually we get
Nice.
1 kiss and it's on the forehead.
Right.
So TJ, do you understand why you're wrong?
I think I was comparing it. There was another R. Livy short story recently in Batman Urban Legends that I really loved, and I feel like it was just tonally very different. So I think it was jarring for me, but I don't hate this story. When I first read it, I was like, I thought I hated it in terms of like writing, but I don't think I do.
I've effectively gaslit TJ into liking this story.
No, TJ has a lot of valid points about this story.
No, he's
but,
right.
He's wrong.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes, it makes perfect sense that he's wrong. But to be fair to TJ, their relationship in the TV show is sort of unmatched. That is a delightful.
It's its own thing.
And we did just read the one in the Valentine special somewhat recently where they grow old together, and it is hard to compare any short story to anything, you know.
This one is very slight. Like I think it takes place over the shortest amount of time of any story in this. Like it's a very heated argument while a giant plant attacks.
Which is one of my favorite tropes.
Yeah, like we see it all the time. It's been done, but this does it well.
Yeah, it's never not funny to me.
I mean, there could be more substance. And again, I think it's served poorly by coming right after the question story, which is the opposite of this. But like you said, Chris, that one panel where Harley finally gives a in-character explanation for the reticentness of the editors in her life is really sweet.
That's one of my favorite things. It's what I do. I mean, that's what half this podcast is, right? Is trying to come up with in-character reasons to explain editorial decisions. So.
I do like that all these stories in this anthology, like they're not about being gay only. Like a lot of times, like I was afraid the whole anthology was just going to be, oh, here are my struggles because I'm gay. And it's like, no, we have like normal relationship trouble and picking someone up at a bar. Like it's very mundane human stuff. And I love that.
Yeah. I think anthologies they run the risk of becoming very special episodes where you feel like the superheroes are looking to the camera and going, the more you know, kids.
Except the next story in this anthology is exactly that.
I know.
Yeah, it was a great segue. I was just about to say.
And speaking of specials, he's the light in my life.
This one, its heart is in the right place, but it's not good.
It's making some really interesting choices. I don't necessarily know they were good choices, but they're interesting choices.
Jadzia spoke earlier about the art in this story, how it kind of gives all of the characters kind of the same haircut. They all look kind of the same. I will say that if you look back to Golden Age Alan Scott stories, every character looks the same in those too.
This is harkening back to a time when we couldn't tell people apart.
I don't think that's the...
No. This is clearly a reference to the fact that in the 30s and 40s, every male character was drawn exactly
like, no, you don't understand.
It's a tribute.
It was shit on purpose.
I really love the relationship between Alan and his son here. I think that issues with how they're drawn aside, there is something of value in this story.
Yeah,
and it's great how it continues the gradual coming out we've seen in James Tynan's Alan Scott story in the Green Lantern 80th anniversary, which recontextualized his whole origin, and the little bit that we saw in Infinite Frontier #0. It's kind of this building story of coming out as an older man.
Yeah,
that is not really something you
and
see.
That's a great story to tell. Yeah, it's a great story to tell. Like coming out later in life is a wonderful story to tell. I think if anything, this has trying to do too much. It's trying to be Alan Scott's coming out later in life story. It's trying to be Alan's Green Lantern and Obsidian coming together as father and son. It's trying to be retelling of Green Lantern's origin. It's like a lot of stuff, and I really would have liked them to have stuck to one.
Yeah.
Like either given us a 1940s-ish, because has Alan Scott been euthanized a bunch? I know he was
very
5 retcons ago, but like...
Look, there's not a lot we know about the JSA right now because Jeff Johns keeps like holding it back. He's like, soon, I'm going to tell you. And he's been doing that since like 2016. So we really don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, let's assume his young manhood was still in the 40s for this, because it seems to imply that without saying it.
It feels old.
It feels old. But like, you know, they could put it in the 80s and it would have felt old. And it still would have worked, honestly. Like, we could have moved his stuff up if we wanted to. Where was I going with this? I think they either should have told like a historical story.
Yeah.
And like been that about the difficulties he had in the time, or they should have told him coming out now, because that is a story that's worth telling. Or they should have told a story with him coming together with his son, whom he's estranged from, with this common ground. And to do all three means that none of them is really served.
This is going to sound weird, but what do I say on a show that doesn't? I wanted this
high
story,
bar.
the highest bar. Well, it's going to get weirder. I wanted this story to be Mark Russell's Snagglepuss. If you haven't read that, then this sounds very weird. But when you said that you wanted it to be historical,
no, it makes sense, strangely.
Right? The idea of it being that historical story of having this gay bar in it, and he was talking about how he went there, and I was like, why didn't we see that? Why do we get one panel like kind of vaguely showing it? Why are we not in that moment? If the whole story had been him using the Green Lantern ring to show his son, that part, which I thought was the only part of the story that I found even a little bit interesting and actually was emotional, I would have been good with that. The rest of it was boring.
But this was my first story with, so I've never read a Green Lantern story ever, not just about this character.
What?
How did I not know this? TJ!
Yeah, I haven't read much DC. And,
I've been screaming at you to read the one with Jessica and Simon this whole time.
Green Lanterns, it's so good.
It's so good.
All right, send me the link. But
TJ, we'll read the one where
it's
Batman
like my favorite
over.
Sam Humphries book.
Yes, me too.
Oh my gosh, now Twitter's gonna come after me.
Get him. We're gonna have to do another Chris Cabal episode about Green Lantern, aren't we?
It's gonna happen.
I'm writing Chris Morris right now.
But this made me like, I cared about, I mean, I knew about the coming out when it happened because of like social media posts and articles. So I had the basic background knowledge, I think. And I don't know, I really connected with the relationship between the father and son, and I don't know, it worked for me. It hit the emotional beats for me, and they worked. But right after this story is the John Constantine pinup, and
wow,
the whole book.
Man whore, love him. He is everything.
Kevin Watt is killing us.
Yeah,
and I love that he has this little sticky note.
That's so good.
His sticky note that's just like ring up Zatanna. I was like, yes.
The whole thing is just brilliant. I mean, all these pinups are, but this is probably my favorite out of all of them.
It's very good. It's very good. And then we are on to the story about Jess.
It was cute.
Which is called Clothes, Makeup. Oh, shoot. What was it?
Clothes, Makeup, Gift.
There we go. Gift. I love this one. This was non-binary representation. I'm here for it.
This is another one that just felt like a solid story. And it's like beginning, middle, end. It's great.
Yes.
I haven't read anything with this Flash.
Jess Chambers, there's not a lot to read.
Right,
Another anthology. They were in Future State and this.
Yeah, I haven't read Future State. I'm now considering it.
Right.
Because Jess is amazing. And I would like more of them.
Their enthusiasm is everything. I love how excited they're like, I get my own mirror master. I'm so ready for this.
Actually, you brought up the comparison with the question story. The same way that Renee's question story felt like a new Vic Sage story, this feels kind of like a new Barry Allen story.
Yes,
but
it does.
Like this is the kind of thing that just any Flash has to deal with, but it's just his own take on it.
I agree. Yeah, I love the through line of all Flashes are late all the time. I think that's amazing. Ugh. I love the scene of changing clothes. That was, it was so good.
This is another great example of queers dressing like queers.
Yes.
Props to that. Also, I love Jess's Flash costume. Like, that's the best Flash costume.
It is literally the best Flash costume of all time.
It's
like,
so
there's
good.
so many great details in it, but it's not overwhelmingly busy like so many other modern costumes are.
Yes. I agree. I love the little detail of them just trying to insert themselves into this police investigation. The police are like, "We really don't need a superhero. You're good. You don't you don't have to."
Yeah, go on your date.
Like, what are you doing? We're fine.
Yeah, this one was so cute. And just listening to Danny talk about their inspiration and what they wanted to convey in this story was really powerful. So I'm plugging in our DC Pride special part 1. Go check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh, I love this story.
Very cute. I love the shopping montage. You gotta have a shopping montage.
Yes.
Love the new Mirror Master.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that costume design is great. Really, like firing on all cylinders on that story.
Yes. I love the way the public responds to this Flash. Like they come in, zip in to like go shopping and they're like, everybody gets that I can just shop really fast and come back and it's just normal. I think it's really cute.
Oh yeah. And the scene at the end where they are at the checkout counter with the Mirror Master under their arm and the clerk is like, did anyone help you today? They're like, no, but thanks. Just the intersection of the superheroic and the mundane is always one of my favorite things. Yeah. And this one does that.
Absolutely. All right. Our next one is Be Gay, Do Crimes.
Alex's favorite.
I think this was my favorite in here too.
Really?
I think one of those is sarcastic.
This was my least favorite.
What?
I also love it, Jadzia. So
I have such an affection for the Pied Piper, so that could be coloring.
Too.
Yeah, I love Pied Piper, but I don't think this is a great Pied Piper story. It's very like Elon Musk SNL Gen Z hospital.
Wow.
It uses the word mind rapey at one point, which
I didn't love that.
Which I don't know why an editor allowed that to happen. The new character, I mean, great design, but just like every time I had to hear them talk, it was like somebody trying to be 20 years younger than they are. It was hard for me to read.
All right.
That's so funny.
Jadzia, tell him why he's wrong.
Please tell me.
Different strokes, different folks. I didn't have any of those reactions.
Me either.
I like this sort of conflict between an older gay person and a younger gay person. And I like that it was illustrated with this drummer boy and Pied Piper who team up of the century. And
yes.
I like that they decided to go harass a rich person at the end.
Yes.
Like I'm not
sure
what there is to complain about.
Yes. I agree.
I just don't like how Drummer Boy is written. It feels forced to me.
I don't know. This sounds like when I talked to my teenage niece. Like it sounded okay to me, honestly.
Yeah, it didn't set off any like. I frequently have read things and I'm like, that's not how young people talk.
Yeah, this one didn't sound like that.
All right, well,
I didn't feel that way with this.
I am over 30, so maybe I'm just old.
That's what it is.
I'm willing to accept that.
You're just on your porch, on your rocker, just shaking your fists at the youth.
We accept you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Scenic Grace.
I liked this a lot. I love this story of like Pied Piper was this like rebel rouser as a youngin, but now is getting older and is like a little more okay with the status quo than he should be, and he gets called out on it. Like I love that as a story.
I think that's great.
Yeah, this one was like if I were to rank these stories, probably in the middle for me. But I love Grace's Iceman, and so I was really looking forward to this one. Maybe my expectations were a bit too high. But I don't
you
know
love
very
Pied Piper, right?
So I don't know very much about Pied Piper, but I know him from the Flash.
Oh, Pied Piper's so fun.
Pied
Pied
Piper's
Piper's
fun.
fun.
Like he's from my favorite Flash, which is the Wally West era.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
I mean, like, if Extraño is the first gay character, Pied Piper is the first good gay character.
Mm.
I love the art. 'Cause
Shout
it's
out to-
it's cartoony without being
Yes.
cartoony.
Oh, his costume and character design in this is so good. I just
Right.
stared at that panel for ages.
Yeah, the
and
way
I love
I
that.
love the way he's drawn in this.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that Drummer Boy's fat.
Yes.
So
Sure.
good.
Yes. 100%. And it's not a thing. It just is.
It just is. Also getting a little trans man vibe from him, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be. But like I'm getting that and I love it.
Yes.
So
it was true.
Yeah, Rowan
all
Ted
of
did a
this
great
is
job.
like there's a lot of good there. Like it's not the perfect gemstone that is the question story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's not bad. I don't think
Yeah.
it's bad.
I like it. I think I would have been happy if it went even. This might just be me, though. I would have been happy if it went even a little further at the end, because I did feel
Sure.
like him buying the neighborhood was a little bit like Justice League when Batman buys the bank. You're like, I don't think you've solved anything, bud. You just, bought the problem. Like,
Yeah. This is definitely something that feels like 4 pages was not enough.
Yeah, like maybe becoming the man was not the solution.
Right.
I have to say, because I'll never get the chance to say it anywhere else on our podcast, I met the actor that played Pied Piper in Flash.
What?
Yeah.
How have I
Nice.
never heard this? No.
Yeah, I met him at Book Expo, and he had a book coming out, and he signed it for me. He was very
that's
nice.
So good.
I was
loved
like, I
him.
loved you on Flash.
I loved him in those 2 seconds he got on Flash. That was fun. What do we got next? Dreamer.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype coming up to this story
Mhm,
that like,
mhm.
oh, this is Dreamer's first comic book appearance, and we're
Mhm.
gonna, and like kind of the implication of that was like, oh, we're gonna figure out how Dreamer fits into the DC universe. But this is clearly a comic book spin-off of her appearance in the Supergirl TV show. This is
Yeah.
Yes.
a DC
It's in the
TV.
superhero.
Yeah.
It's in the TV show world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Think?
Arrowverse.
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
took it as like they were translating their relationships to the comics and like retconning that she's been around and like
No, I mean she's dating Brainiac 5 in this, and Brainiac 5 is in Legion of Superheroes. Supergirl's in National City, which is like not really a thing.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. This is disappointing then, because like I assumed it was in the DC
He's
continuity.
disappointed now that he knows.
Yep.
It's co-written by Nicole Maines, who is the actress who plays
Yes.
Dreamer in Supergirl.
I do think that's very cool, I will say.
One of my colleagues at DCComics.com asked me if this was the first DC story written by a trans woman. It
No.
is absolutely not.
No.
We've got Maddie Blaustein, who wrote a bunch for Milestone in the 90s. We got Rachel Pollack, who did Doom Patrol after Grant Morrison and A Year on New Gods. We have Lila Sturgis, who did a ton of stuff through the 2000s, including a bunch of Fables. And most recently, Magdalene Visaggio did Eternity
Mhm,
Girl.
mhm, mhm.
It's a short list, but it's still a list.
I'll be on it later this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you will.
you'll be on it later this year.
Yeah, it's a fun story. Like I like the
Yeah.
realistic art style that evokes the show. I like that
Yeah.
Dreamer gets to do more here than she normally does on the show, which is nice.
Is the plot line from the show? Because I was deeply confused what was happening the whole time.
Kind of, sorta.
Mhm.
Okay. Because like there's all this like there's a secret, there's a mystery, and I was like, that's a weird choice to make for this anthology book.
I
Yeah,
do-
it references some of the stuff with the League of Shadows in the
Yeah.
Arrowverse.
Yeah, because that's not what the League of Shadows is in regular DC
No.
continuity. I was so confused.
it's a different thing in the Arrowverse. I do want to say about JLQ before we really get into it with the next story. A lot of people who thought Dreamer would be in there, that like little chibi art, that was Tracy 13, not Dreamer. A lot of people got
So
the characters.
she was never actually supposed to be in it.
Yeah,
I
so
'cause
Dreamer
she's-
was never really on the roll call. As
because she's
far as
not
we
in
know.
it in the next
Yeah,
one,
exactly.
which that is so transitioning over. We have Love Life with Aqualad and eventually the JLQ, I think. Kind of.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Question mark?
I love the JLQ. Can I just say, I love them so much. Like the moment they showed up, I was like, I know they're Andrew Wheeler's babies.
Yeah.
And if anything's gonna happen with them, it'll be him doing it. But I want to write him.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love this idea. I love this lineup of characters. I didn't know everyone. I will confess there were a few of them I was like, who are they? But I was excited.
Well, let's get through it. Who didn't you know?
Nerd.
Well, I'll tell you the ones I definitely knew. We saw Midnighter and Apollo up in there.
Yeah.
Thanks to this anthology, I knew who Gregorio was. And Werewolf Husband, didn't know his name, but he was there.
Tasmanian Devil.
Thank you.
Yeah, they kiss, don't they?
Yes, they do. And Bunker was there. I was out there
Yeah.
screaming. Bunker, who of course is friends with Tim Drake, so that's why I know him. He was there. Let's see. Who am I forgetting? Everyone. The Tom Taylor couple is in this.
Wink and the Airy.
Yes, they
Love them.
Love them so much.
My favorite power couple the past few years.
Absolutely.
Looks like there's Shining Knight, right in Tasmanian Devil's armpit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Tremor, the only asexual DC character.
There's your scrap.
Where was Tremor hiding? I'm looking at the picture.
There's your representation.
She's right by Tasmanian Devil's fist.
Oh my goodness, that half, like not even a full face.
Yeah.
No. That's Shining Knight.
Oh, okay.
You can see her leg, and later
see.
she gets a panel using her powers. So that's nice.
See. That's who we got.
We got Crush in there, who's got her own series right now. We got,
who is the Superman one? The one of
that's Natasha Irons. That's Steele's niece.
And the Ray.
And we got the
Batwoman pops
Ray,
up here in the second panel. She's not in the first panel, is she? Oh, there she is. Yes, she is.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah. So I almost knew everybody. There were just a few I didn't know.
And there's this new guy, Extraño's Apprentice.
I'm not a huge fan of his shorts, but I love his tank top.
I love his fanny pack. I'm here for the fanny pack.
Like the midriff tops, so good. Like that butterfly.
With suspenders, yes.
But the shorts are strange because they're very tight, but they're also long.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I feel like this guy would have a booty short going on.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to wrestle with those shorts. So it's a little strange.
Definitely some wrestling, and the fact that they're khaki is weird.
Yeah, so they do call them
the khaki shorts to Pride.
So, I don't know. He needs a bit more apprenticing, is what we're learning here.
So.
So they do in this panel call them the JLQ. So that is, they are that, I guess, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah, this feels like an expanded roster. I feel like if it does happen, which I'm hoping it does, Batwoman and Midnighter and Apollo probably won't be on the team. Like it'll
there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. It said like either 8 or 9 young heroes, and so I was looking at this group trying to figure out like, well, who would
which
be
bunch? Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, props though to both of them who are like, let's get every gay character on there.
Yeah.
That we can.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
That's got to be tempting to everybody working on one of these stories in the anthology. To like, who else can I throw in here?
It would be really cool if we first of all, if we get a JLQ, but also if they do the thing where they have other queer characters in the universe cameo in different issues. That would be fun. I would be down for that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it feel weird that we're getting this JLQ story when the JLQ lost that kind of twisted voting thing
in
that
the first round?
First round, 2 Robins.
Yeah.
2 Robins.
I mean,
I wanted Robins, but like,
because that doesn't mean anything.
That's fair. But it does feel unfair that they pitted the 2 gay stories against each other.
The 2.
Right.
Because Robin's is gay.
I want to talk about the best queer story that wasn't in this comic that came out the same week.
I literally read this this morning and took notes because I knew we would be talking about it.
We gotta talk about
Drake is
we
gay
gotta
as
talk
fuck.
about Urban Legends #4. We gotta.
Yes, we're just like stapling it onto the back of this issue and deciding that it's part
it counts.
of the
It absolutely counts as part of this issue.
There's no way that this story came out during the month of June and it isn't implying that he's gay.
No.
Alex, last time we talked, you said there wasn't a good chance Tim Con would happen.
Are you going to take that back now?
No, I'm not taking that back. I don't think Tim Con can happen, but I do think Tim can have a boyfriend.
Okay.
I will accept that.
So I haven't read whatever you're talking about, so fill me in.
Jadzia.
Chris, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, I'll try. I'll try to contain myself enough to explain it. So I want you to know the background here is that TJ and Alex had read this before me and were telling me how gay it was. And I came into it going, look, I've been burned before. I'm not going to buy into this. And I got maybe 5 pages into it and I texted TJ, this is gay as fuck. Like, it's so gay. So basically it's this story where Tim Drake, at this point, just Robin, because Damian's not around to claim the title, so he can just take it back, I guess.
Yeah.
As you do when your brother's out of the room, you just steal their whole name and identity.
Look, there are like 1,000 Green Lanterns. There can be 2 Robins.
There can be. Hey, I'm supportive of it. I just thought it was really funny that he literally is like, Damian can't stop me. That's what I'm gonna do. He's not here. We'll wait till he comes back, then we'll duke it out again. But he's working with Oracle in this story, and they're trying to find these missing teenagers. But all the while, he's having this conversation with her, and she's kind of saying, like, you've been Robin for so long, you've put your whole life into Robin for so long, you haven't figured yourself out. And there's all this like vague, just vaguing at the on the panel of them going like backward and forward of them going, you know, the stuff you need to figure out. And he's like, yes, I have stuff to figure out, winks dramatically at the camera. And then he goes to meet this friend, which is from the Red Robin solo series.
Just the Robin solo series.
Oh, the Robin solo series. You're right. You're right. Not the Red Robin one. So he's from the Robin solo series. He goes to meet him. He borrows clothes from Dick Grayson, and he's like looking in the mirror and going, I don't know, this doesn't look good. I'm like sweating over it. And he's having this whole moment about how he looks. And then he shows up at a restaurant, which is candlelit, and they have dinner together, and there's body language. They're leaning toward each other. They're like talking. At one point, their arms are around each other.
They're arguing over who gets to pay the check.
They're arguing over who gets to pay the check. They are. And then like somebody chaos monster attacks, which I loved. That was fun. And he's like, get under the table. I'm going to protect you. And he's like fighting out of costume because he's protecting his guy. It is so gay.
Oh, you left out the part where he's doing the stakeout before and he zooms in on the like couple that are holding hands.
Right.
Yes, you guys.
Unbelievable.
Like computer enhance.
Yeah.
Did they make out?
They didn't. It's not finished. There's 2 more issues.
This is the first issue in the story.
No points. I award no points.
All right.
I'm just saying this is the closest. If this is queer baiting, we're at Falcon and Winter Soldier level queer baiting. Like we are at.
Well, this year starts with a 2. Okay.
All right.
This year starts with a 2. We've just talked about half a dozen to 10 stories where people actually make out. Like,
yeah, but this is the Batman character.
Partial
it's
credit.
Different.
No partial credit.
Right.
No, it's not even partial credit.
Right.
What it is a threat.
That's fair.
If this is queer baiting, there's going to be a riot.
There will be a reckoning.
Yes.
I will lead it. I will become Chaos Monster. This will be my villain origin story.
There will be a Robin's reckoning.
I mean, I just don't want to get anyone's hopes up. Because,
it's too late.
It's too late.
Like all of this stuff is like, you caught me at a bad time.
First of all,
because I was just
right.
fuming about this earlier about like trans characters in comics.
Yeah.
How so often it's either like someone walks in on them in the shower and they have to explain their own bodies, or it's a series of like winks and nods and hidden clues. And neither of those are satisfying. And so like this whole thing where it's like, yeah, they're gay, but they don't say nothing. And I'm like, no,
I get it.
No, they should say it. They should say
All
it.
right. Well, they have 2 more issues to sort their shit out.
It's not like, to be clear, if this does not pan out, I will be furious about this story.
Oh, yeah.
It's that I'm not saying this is not me giving partial credit. This is me literally laying down this better be real this time because I've been hurt too much.
It better
Maybe
be because
this time.
There's no reason to not say if Tim is gay, there's no reason for him not to say it. Like,
I think that
I can't think of a single reason
that
in a 24-page story you can't have some sort of like, even if it's him like, all right, I'm gonna do it, I'm putting this rainbow pin on my jacket when I go out in public. Like even that would be like a confirmation.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Right.
Well,
so
I mean,
much
the beginning.
Our theory is that they're building up to that.
Yeah, the beginning of the story is Oracle basically saying, "Come on, we know."
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true.
So many. Like,
happen.
if this was
true.
If this was 1996 and this story happened, I would be over the moon. I would be over the moon.
Okay.
But this year starts with a 2.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying this is a main, like,
soon to say.
One of Bruce Wayne's kids. If that actually becomes canon, the world is our oyster at this point. Like, if one of the Robins is gay, everything just my depression will clear. I'm like
we'll be our one gay Robin.
we forgot to talk about the actual story in the JLQ thing.
Oh yeah, what happened?
There was a parade
meaningless.
and
the
Eclipso
important part is
shows
the
up.
GLQ shows up.
It's not about Tim Drake.
They all
What's happening?
they all fight Eclipso. Okay.
Eclipso, like, yeah. Who likes Eclipso? No one. No one likes Eclipso.
Who is feeding on internalized homophobia?
Or something. I don't know. Like,
it was an odd choice.
He's not a great villain. He's great in this instance where it's like, we need someone who looks evil so we can just throw him in with no backstory.
Right.
100%.
Oh, Eclipso is sitting there. Like, he could have just as easily been Dr. Destiny or something, and it would have changed nothing. Like, it's meaningless.
I did love when Aqualad is like, "You'll remember my name." That's about it. That was my moment.
I do like that this Aqualad is more like the Young Justice Aqualad than the comic book Aqualad we've seen.
Yes.
And I think the artist was like trying to do that on purpose, and like mission accomplished.
I do love Luciano's art on this story. I'm a big fan of his work, and we'll be talking to him in our part 2 special coming up, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, the art for this is great.
Oh yeah.
I particularly like the couple taking refuge from the rain under the trans flag.
That was so good. I love that too. Yeah.
Well, did any of you have a favorite story in this anthology?
The question.
Probably the question story is, I think, objectively the best. I have a soft spot for the Pied Piper story, despite its flaws. And I do like the Dreamer story. It's sweet, and it's again that the Dreamer story and the Flash story are probably tied in my eyes, and for the same reasons, which is that intersection of superpowers and mundane stuff.
I think my favorite, I mean, you all already know, it's the Steve Orlando one. I love that one, but I really liked all of them, which is rare for me in an anthology.
Oh yeah, they're all fun. They're all fun except for the Green Lantern one.
Yeah, the Green Lantern one, I keep forgetting about it. I keep saying bold like generalizations and then being like, oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I didn't love that one, but otherwise I really did actually like all of them. So
yeah. I had a great time reading it. Like sitting down, obviously it was extensive homework for this podcast. But I just had a great time. Like, it's fun. Some of these characters, like, I haven't read their stories. Yeah. So it was an introduction to, like, I haven't read a lot of Aqualad stuff. I haven't read much about the non-binary Flash. And so, like, to be introduced to them was really fun. And I feel like
for both those characters.
Yeah. For a lot of the characters, I think it works as just like, here's the care and feeding for these queeros. Should you look for them later?
Yes. It made me want to read all of their stories pretty much. So.
Well, great, because there's an article on DCComics.com right now where I write, hey, if you're a fan of any of these characters, here's where you can follow them.
All
Alex, you're so good to us.
I do what I can.
Which is a great article.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Batwoman one is my, like, in terms of, like, artistic, like, deep metaphors and beautiful, I love that art. So that's up there. But then I also just really love the Aqualad JLQ story. It was just fun, and I'm a huge Luciano fan. So that's probably, like, number 2, but very close.
It's the question. I love the question story. I love that Batwoman story that opened it up. I thought that was doing the most interesting things kind of metatextually. The art was incredible. Well, that's true for all of them.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Valeria Johnson. She's the best. She wins the award for best OC of the issue, and I want to see more.
Yep.
Yes.
So for returning guests, we have a new question, and that is, what is your most ridiculous DC Comics related hill you will die on?
Ooh.
There's so many. There are so
Many, but she did specify ridiculous. So we have to think of our pettiest one.
Yes.
Pettiest one. All right.
And-
you go first because I'm having trouble thinking.
Okay,
of-
I've got an answer for this. And this
Okay.
is something that my group of DC.com writers and I have kind of collectively chosen as our hill to die on. Her name is not Talia Al Ghul. Al Ghul is not a last name. She's just Talia.
Oh. What?
She's not Talia of the Demon. That makes no sense.
No, I mean, that
never
is
thought
kind of
about
metal.
that.
Prior to 2000, in all of Denny O'Neil's original work, she's just Talia. She gets the name Talia Head when she takes over LexCorp while he runs for president. And then I think like Death in the Maidens is the first book to call her Talia Al Ghul. But she's just Talia.
Because that's a
it.
title. It's a title. So why would she take it on? You're right. I've never thought about that.
She doesn't want to be defined by her father's legacy.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's such a good hill to die on. I'm going to take it up too. I agree.
All right.
I'll fight with this battle with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You
You're
got a new
drafted
soldier.
into the Talia crew.
I've always been Team Talia, but now I have a new cause.
Right. Now your team just Talia.
Just Talia. Thank you.
Jadzia, what you got?
The only one I can think of, and I don't know if this is petty enough, but it is something I refuse to back down on, so that's good.
Yeah.
The Red Tornado
Okay.
is the first female superhero ever.
Okay.
And now,
unpack this for me.
right, she predates both Wonder Woman and Phantasma, I believe is the other contender for the title. But she is not a superhero until after Wonder Woman is introduced.
Right.
So the character of Ma Hunkel is pre-Wonder Woman. She adopts a Red Tornado identity post-Wonder Woman, but I still believe that since she was created before Wonder Woman, and since her personality is the same either side of the Wonder Woman creation, she predates Wonder Woman. She is the first female superhero, and she's amazing, and I love her.
I don't know if I can follow you on that hill.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I shall remain there.
All right. I feel like you gotta count from the point they become a superhero, because I don't know if Ma Hunkel was ever intended to become a superhero until after Wonder Woman.
Ma Hunkel is raising 2 children and running a grocery store
Yeah.
by her own. If that's not super heroic, I don't know what is.
Yeah, what do you got to say
Okay.
to that, Alex?
In that case, what about Lady Bumstead from the Dagwood comics?
Does she turn into a superhero?
She does those superhero-y things.
But does
She re-
does she have a costume later?
No.
No, she does not.
All right.
No, she does not.
Not all heroes wear capes, is what we're
Alright.
saying here.
But they do eventually have
They
to,
do
is what
eventually.
Jadzia is saying.
Exactly. This is
One day.
this is thing. And like, again, it's petty, it's meaningless. No one cares.
I absolutely love that this entire thing is based on you changing the definition of what it means to have been the first superhero. I'm here for this.
We're just gonna have to agree to disagree here.
If our listeners want to hear you argue these opinions even more, where can they find you on social media?
Oh, please don't find me there. No, I'm at Planet X on Twitter and Planet X on Instagram. By all means, seek me out, I guess.
I'm at Alex Jaffe on Twitter. And again, you can subscribe to the Insert Credit podcast, where I'm talking about video games every week.
Thank you both so much for coming back. I'm sure you will be back again at some point.
Oh, this was a delight. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah,
Let's
this
do it
was
again
fun.
soon. It was too long.
It was too long. Absolutely.